can strike her into a bridge. I don't care. Marcus Nilsson, my man, my friend, my. I love that man, I genuinely. He has departed Ghost Games, meaning he is no longer the lead of the founder of the studio. If you didn't know, Marcus founded the studio of Ghost Games. He was the head poncho? Did you say head poncho? He was the guy that called the shots. He was the guy that, he's the manager man. He's the man. He's the man of the man and the woman. As of November 2018, he no longer works for Ghost Games. He actually now is self-employed, a highly experienced software executive, which could be anything. He could be leasing software for banks or, I don't know, finance company. He could be doing anything. He could be I don't know what he's doing. He was a great man. I just want to make my first point of this video, which is I appreciate that, you know, people have to move on and stuff, but I am going to miss Marcus. I remember back in the day, the first time I met eye to eye with Marcus when I had about 10,000 subscribers.
I have one more question just over there as well, then we'll wrap up.
So since Black Box has gone, the progression seems to have died a bit, and I was wondering if it was ever going to come back, as in I get a low-class car and be able to upgrade it.
So if I understood the question correctly, if you could have lower tier cars that you could build up and upgrade so they can compete with higher end cars. I think there's a future there, I'll tell you that much. I don't think that you will find that functionality in Rivals specifically, even though that you can obviously tune and upgrade your cars in Rivals. They're all kind of sports or high-end supercars. There's a future of doing what you're saying, of having other lower tier cars that you have more flexibility in upgrading to what you want them to be, and also go deeper on customization, as I said.
I asked the man if the customization and stuff was going to come back, and they brought it to us, and they said they have plans for a bigger game, which was 2015, which basically became 2015. So they knew from the beginning, early on when Rivals was in development, and they'd probably already started the next game, they were like, yes, we're working on 2015. We're going back to that underground vibe. So Marcus, I really like the guy. He's a passionate man. Obviously, it seems there's been some fingers pointed for Payback. Now, Payback, as we probably already know, did decently as a Need for Speed. Anything with Need for Speed on the name would do well. But as to reviews, 2015 and Payback didn't really get so great reviews. So obviously, someone has to take the blame. It can't just be, oh, we'll just make another one, because this, again, has been the second installment of the rehashed Need for Speed. And now, you know, we've got another flop as terms of reviews go. While most may recognize him for the face of Ghost during E3 presentations, he's largely credited for being the brains behind the all-drive system, seen in full form in Need for Speed 2015 and Rivals, along with the reintroduction of customization to the series. He was a fresh face. He came in, he took charge, and he was like, right, Need for Speed is not doing great. We're doing it with the studio. We're making a new one. Boom, here we go. Let's give them what they want. And then Payback came out, and he was also a prominent supporter of cooperative and competitive online multiplayer in video games, and interestingly enough, resisted those beliefs in order to deliver a single-player focused experience for Need for Speed Payback. It's a shame, but, you know, things happen. I don't know who decided to leave or who got kicked off or whatever, but it's obvious that there's been a big mix-up in general. It might not have just been the heads, but it could have been throughout the whole of EA in general, because EA last year, even last year, they didn't have a fantastic year, with Battlefield not doing so great and a lot of complaints towards that, and it's kind of going all over the place for EA. The only solid title that I've not really heard any complaints about is FIFA, and that's because people that buy FIFA generally don't care about anything. You may also remember William Ho, Mad Cheese. This guy came straight from the Black Box era and started to help develop this next game, which was Payback. He was the creative director of Need for Speed Payback. He thought, all right, I'm going to bring back that Flavor Flav from that old series of old. He's the Black Box man in the middle, and you know what? I thought he did a pretty decent job. I'm pretty sure, you know, you've got to remember that studios in general are a big thing. It's not just one person deciding on everything. You have to look at the situation is that there's so hundreds and hundreds of people throwing in their ideas, and in the end, all of those ideas may ultimately get ignored, and they make something that they think they need to make, which is what the people like us are suggesting. A lot of people say that Payback's being so bad was him to blame, but do you really think any game designer, developer wants to throw microtransactions into their game? No, it's someone higher up that has to say, let's put these things in. It needs to be done because games are more expensive nowadays. We need more money to produce the next games, and for you to actually be able to make the next games, we need more money. So, you know, it's got to happen. It's like, that's why games get released early. But basically, William Ho left. He was never really there. He was actually always in Canada and did calls and flew over every now and again to give some input onto what the game should be. Now, just to give you a quick idea of what's going on with this, thinking of who was in his role with the last game, it was actually the man Craig Sullivan himself. Mr. Driftman McGee, break to drift, but okay. In the past, I have bullied Craig, and we pointed at him for the reason of it being drifting. That was me in the immature past. Me and Craig were best buds now, except that he left. And that's why William Ho replaced him. He left to make the Grand Tour game, which is now £11.99 on the store before it's even come out. Oh boy! End result, we're pretty clueless on what's happening. Obviously, they could have hired new people. Generally, what happens is people that have done similar roles get hired into this job. Obviously, when they were forming Ghost, a lot of people who work on Shift, a lot of people worked at Criterion, like half of Criterion is in Ghost now. Basically, we get a whole mishmash of different developers from different places, different experiences, everything. So, who is now the lead? Because from the looks of this information, we've got no CEO of the studio, and we've got no creative designer for the game. So who is designing and leading the operation of the next Need for Speed, which is 2019, which is supposed to be releasing this year? Hopefully it does, because I made a video on it, and otherwise people will call me a liar. Generally, in a situation like this, they look at what worked well in the past. And I might as well just say it. I did some of my own digging, and Matt Webster is now the VP and GM, Vice President and General Manager of Criterion and Ghost Games. He's been there since December 2017. Obviously, in some of these roles, there will be crossover, and it's Matt Webster. The man's cool. He's got some creative talent. If you don't know, he was a lead role behind Burnout Paradise and a few other Burnout games, I imagine, and Most Wanted 2012. I wouldn't say I'm excited. I would say I'm really nervous, but at the same time, I'm intrigued. Now, I never really got to meet Craig. We met from across the room, and there was like a big room of people, and he made some comments about, so he knew who I was, and yeah. Just because the creative lead might be interested in power-ups and some kind of stupid weapons and stuff, Hot Pursuit 2010, all that kind of thing, I don't think they're going to force that on us. We've very clearly stated that 2015, and the numbers have stated that 2015 overall is a much more representative of what we want from Need for Speed than Payback was. That was made very, very, very clear. Now, obviously, 2015 has been out much longer than Payback. Payback, I'm sure, still did just fantastic. I mean, on PlayStation, I think we got the numbers of 5 million people played on PlayStation 4 alone, considering it's on 2 other platforms as well. We're looking just under 10 million in my head, surely. Whereas 2015 sold about 10 million on PS4 alone, or at least was played by 10 million alone, but it didn't have microtransactions. So I think they're probably not as far apart as we think, and obviously, give or take a couple more years, I think they'll be about the same when they die off. We have stated that we want a 2015 style game. We want underground street night racing. It's clear as day that that is what people want. That is what car culture is online. It's all about the Japanese cars. It would be moronic for them to go, you know what, let's put power-ups and all these hypercar, Bugattis. Not that they can't do that, but they've got to do it right with the 2015 vibe. And of all people, I genuinely wouldn't think that Matt Webster would be the best fit for it. But I've been proven wrong in the past before. In my head of what I had an image of Craig Sullivan, he actually, he was the creative designer of 2015, and very clearly he did a fantastic job at that, and then he left for Amazon to make the Grand Tour. I also want to know, of Most Wanted 2012, if you don't know, that's the original intro song from Most Wanted 2012, whose idea was it to put a song from a woman saying that she crashed her car into a bridge, watched it burn, and she doesn't care? Because I think I would very much care if I was driving any of the nice cars, and even if it was like the Volvos. It's rather interesting, and I I'm a little bit confused. I'm a little bit worried. I'm a little bit excited. The guy can make great games. It's very clear as day. Burnout Paradise is a fantastic game that to this day, even when it re-released, I loved it. So obviously EA saw that the man has talent for racing games and they have him under their shoulder already. So why not put him on Need for Speed? Let's see how the next game does. Again, I'm not saying that he has creative control over anything. He might have replaced Marcus. We'll see. But I wanted to bring that news to you to have a bit of a discussion. This year, again, is the year of Need for Speed. And if it isn't, maybe goes to going a bit crazy. But obviously,